everyone, it's Shell from Scrap Secrets and welcome back to my channel. Today is day 15 in the Countdown to Christmas 2021 series, and we're going to be making this vintage postcard 5x7 card. You're going to start off with a piece of cream color cardstock that measures 4¼ by 5½ inches. I thought I was going to do an A2 size card, and then I changed my mind once I start putting the card together. We're going to be using some images from Honeybee Stamps Post Perfect. This is one that I got in one of my hauls. I will be posting the haul video soon for that. I bought a bunch of stuff for pre-Black Friday and Black Friday, and this was one of the things that I got. I'm going to be inking it up with some Versa Mark Black Onyx ink, and I'm going to stamp it a couple times. I'm using my Misty one because I'm actually going to mass produce this. I believe this is the card that I am going to do for a good majority of my Christmas cards. And I also knew that it's the first time I'm using these stamps, and I probably was going to have to stamp them more than once. So you see here, I'm just pressing everything down using my fingers. I couldn't find the dry eraser. The girls were over this weekend and we were using them for the cards, and I think it was on the other side of my desk. I had one twin on one side and the other twin on the other side, so I have supplies all over the place I have to clean up, but I wanted to make this card. I was very excited about it. Oh, I'm going to put the Misty aside and we are going to clear heat emboss. This clear heat embossing powder that I have is so old. Again, it's probably one of the oldest ones that I owned. I thought that this is where I was going to stop, but I actually decided to add a little bit more after I heat emboss this. So before I heat embossed it, I actually took my makeup brush and just went over the areas that were pretty open just to make sure that none of that powder stuck. I originally was just going to stamp it in that Versamark ink, and then I decided to heat emboss it because I wanted to do a little bit of a resist. So you see here I have the Distress Oxide in Vintage Photo, and I'm using one of my blending brushes, tapping it off on my mat before I go around all the edges because I just wanted a very, very light color. And if you've seen any of my videos where I ink blend, you will know that I am heavy-handed with that ink. So I wanted to tap off, add a teeny tiny bit of ink, and then tap off the excess ink so that I wouldn't do too harsh of a line, too dark, or too much ink blending around it. I wanted to make it look vintage, and I was loving the way this came out, but I decided that I needed a little bit more than just that. The postcard looked very plain, so I'm taking out two stamp sets that I also got in some hauls, the MFT Season's Greeting, as well as the Honeybee Tag You're It Holiday Sentiments. And I'm using the two from the Honeybee set as well as this scene from the MFT stamp set. I'm going to also heat emboss it. If you notice here, I'm putting a little bit of that kaolin clay on top of it. You don't have to do this, but since I had already ink blended on top of it, it takes Distress Oxides a while to dry. And I didn't want the powder to stick on the previously inked edges, so I'm using my powder. I'm going to ink up the images with the Versa Fine. I always get that mixed up. Versa Mark is the sticky ink. Versa Fine is the black ink that I use. So it's the Versa Fine, and I'm going to stamp the image and the two down, and we're going to heat emboss it. When I mass produce these now from after doing this first one, because I didn't know what I really wanted to do. Now that I'm mass producing them, I am actually stamping the Misty images, and then I'm stamping the Stamp Perfect images, and then heat embossing everything at once. So it makes the process go a little bit faster. But I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, and it looked really plain, so I thought adding the two as well as the scene would actually complete this card. And at this point, I still think that I'm doing a A2 sized card. So I'm going to put that embossing powder over everything, dump the rest of it back onto that scratched piece of paper, and then I am going to heat emboss it just like I did the rest of it. And this is magic. I love when you can see it's kind of cloudy and it becomes this shiny image, and that's how you know that the image is heat embossed. So I decided to change up my idea, and I'm going to do a 5x7 card. Oh, I am going over all of the image with a cloth just to make sure that none of the ink, the stress oxide that I had, was on the embossed images. And now I'm going to be using my new Honeybee Be Creative glue to put a green piece of cardstock down on the 5x7 card base. Then I'm going to put this red and white candy cane striped paper down onto that, and it is cut an 1/8 of an inch, yes, an 1/8 of an inch smaller than the 5x7. And then I'm going to put the postcard on at an angle. And this, I think this looks so good. I think it looks very vintage and I love it. And I'm going to put the family's name in the to spot and then send it out as a regular card. So I will have addressed the envelope, but I will use, put the family's last name on there. So I'll put the whatever family on it and send it out. So I'm using some MFT Wild Cherry ink to ink up a sentiment from that Season's Greeting stamp set from MFT. And I'm being pretty brave because my Misty and my Stamp Perfect are occupied with those stamps. So I'm just using a stamp block on this, and it actually comes out really well for never having used it before. And that's the end of the card. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, like, and comment, and I will see you guys again real soon for another video. Bye!